Guys, welcome to United's glory. Manchester United advanced to the next round of the FA Cup after knocking a bus out of the competition. I think David Moyes came for a point. He probably had the champagne on ice ready at the 90-minute mark. But somebody went up to him and told him, mate, this ain't the Premier League. You're not getting a point for this display. It's the FA Cup. Someone has to be knocked out. And he was like, oh, God, no. And then he actually tried to attack a little bit. He actually put some attackers on. Oh, it's just David Moyes all over, though, isn't it? We know he does this rubbish. It's sideways crab football. Pass it back. Stay compact, defend deep. Get the ball to a wide man, whipping across, and hopefully some big donut heads the ball in. He literally turned Ferguson's great Manchester United teams into that. We were not happy with it. He deserved to get sacked. And, What a kind of display was that? Were Man United particularly brilliant? No, but they literally just parked a bus. They actually parked a bus. Anyway, we're through to the next round of the FA Cup. Obviously, going into extra time is not great. It's a good job we can make 5 substitutes in the FA Cup at the moment, because it meant that not every player had to go through that grueling 120 minutes. But, just David Moyes, he's cancerous to football. Anyway, not a particularly great performance from us. We're definitely in control of the game. We're definitely the dominant team. We definitely played with authority in a lot of parts of the pitch. The attack was poor today, and it's important to note when the defence make mistakes or play badly, people get on them. But our attack were not good today. At all. Wasteful. And they were the part of the team that didn't show the authority. But at the end of the day, the job got done. So there's not a lot to say really about the particular performance, because it was a dull game. And that was mostly down to West Ham, to be brutally honest. I think that the biggest disappointment is Van der Beek. Because despite the fact I want him to do well, I've been saying time and time again, the guy just does not make any impact whatsoever. I'll get on to more about him in the player ratings. But at the end of the day, we've just loaned out Jesse Lingard to them, and he doesn't specifically do more than what Jesse Lingard was doing for us. If he's just going to play safe all the time. I'll get on to him in a moment, because I do think there's more to come. But, he's got to make an impact if he wants to dislodge Bruno Fernandes, who's more than willing. Bruno, when he came on, he weren't very good today, but it was night and day between them in terms of impact in the match. I'll get straight on to player ratings anyway. Henderson. Basically, I can't believe I said Jordan Henderson. He can actually catch a cross. Dean Henderson can catch a cross. Basically, De Gea, what annoys me about De Gea is aerially, he's always punching it. Now, I know that's a continental thing, and De Gea is from Spain, but Henderson can catch. And I was actually ticking the amount of crosses he did today where he actually caught the ball, where I thought De Gea is punching that. Now, don't get me wrong, usually De Gea's got a strong hand, but at the weekend, he basically pat-a-caked it out to their player, and it ultimately cost us the game against Everton. I know some people are trying to blame the defence, absolutely being dishonest with themselves, in all honesty, trying to blame Maguire for the fact that Everton drew 3-3 with us. It was De Gea. He didn't basically get in De Gea's gloves and pat-a-cake it out to the striker, did he? Anyway, Henderson can catch. He's usually quite quick at distributing the ball. He's actually quite slow today, Henderson was, which was a bit annoying. I hope he doesn't keep that up, because I like the fact he's got that long throw in his arsenal. His passing was okay. Good performance by Henderson. Didn't really have much to do, but his concentration was there when he was needed. That's one of De Gea's biggest problems. As far as I'm concerned, Henderson should be playing in the next game, because De Gea deserves to be dropped. I'll say it time and time again. It's not that I particularly think Henderson's proved that he's better than De Gea or not, but if you're going to bring Henderson back in, because he could have gone to many clubs in the Premier League in the summer, you're going to bring him back in and have him on the bench, because Romero wasn't a bad second choice either. You're going to have him as your second choice. And you say to De Gea, after a disastrous season last year where he made, I can't even remember how many errors he made, but it was a lot. If you're going to say, De Gea, you can't afford to make mistakes anymore because we've got this guy who can play for the first team, You know, when De Gea does make mistakes, you've got to drop him. Otherwise, that whole situation of you cannot afford to make mistakes is not worth anything. Ollie has got to be strong and he's got to play Henderson against West Brom at the weekend. It's not, I mean, I don't even have sympathy for De Gea anymore because he's made too many mistakes. I mean, I know what he's done for us in the past, but that was like 2015. That was ages ago. But 7 out of 10 for Henderson today. He didn't really have that much to do, really, but did what he needed to do when he had to do it. Telles, really good performance from Telles. Look, Luke Shaw has to be good because he's got a very, very good left back gunning for his spot. And it's worked wonders for Luke Shaw that, you know, Telles has come in. Luke Shaw's on the ball because Luke Shaw's been excellent recently. I'm all for this version of Luke Shaw that's brave and courageous and willing to attack. And he has to be because Telles, his ball delivery is fantastic. He can play 1-2 touch football. He makes good overlapping runs or runs on the inside as well. He's very good at it. I mean, it's a good battle between them. So apparently they're driving each other on, I think Jermaine Gina said as well. So that's great. Great addition to our team. He came off at 90 minutes. I can only imagine that's to do with the fact he hasn't been playing too much. And obviously going beyond 90 minutes may have been too much for him. Bringing on the energy at fullbacks after 90 minutes as well was probably a good idea. But for me, Telles was man of the match today. He's got an 8 out of 10. I mean, it wasn't a wonderful performance by anyone, so 8 out of 10 doesn't usually get man of the match. But, you know, he had a good game. Very good game. Wan-Bissaka at right back, just a typical Wan-Bissaka performance. Nothing special, wasn't really tested that much. Just did what he did, really. Like I keep saying, when the ball comes out to him, it's generally Man United's attack over. He's got to look for inventive ways with Greenwood or whoever's ahead of him to break down the opposing defence, because that's where his game kind of falls apart. He's very good in the first third, okay in the second third. He's very good at driving into space in the second third, but when it gets to that final third, I don't know what really happens to him, to be honest. He can cross. He's not a consistent crosser, but he can cross and he can beat a man. But it's just about making choices. He's only 22. I think it will really help if we can get a right winger ahead of him. What people don't seem to realise is even with Luke Shaw, yeah, sure, Luke Shaw's now on form, but he has Rashford ahead of him pretty much most of the time, or Anthony Martial. Two very good players who are good at link-up play as well. We need to get that kind of player ahead of Bissaka. I mean, it's got to be Sancho, hasn't it? But there's rumours coming out that we might not be in for him anymore, which is ridiculous. But yeah, we do need to get someone that's actually a natural right-sided player ahead of him. Greenwood did okay tonight, but you know he's not a right forward, is he? A 7 out of 10 for Wan-Bissaka. Lindelof, solid. I keep saying Lindelof's a good defender. He's a good defender. It's not his fault he isn't the right suit for Maguire. He does a job. He's a very good defender. Lindelof's only 26 as well. For some reason, I always think he's older. He's only 26. He's not even in his prime years yet. Very good on the ball. Very cultured. I think the only problem with Lindelof, and I think the only advantage Maguire has over Lindelof, is that Maguire is huge. He's literally Godzilla playing at the back for us. Whereas Lindelof's quite slight, but he usually handles his man well. But every now and again, a bit of physicality can get the better of Lindelof. But he's a very good defender, very solid. Anyway, I mean, he can do it. Cannavaro wasn't particularly big, and he's my favourite defender of all time. But a 7 out of 10 for Lindelof. Harry Maguire, another solid performance from him today. Gets the blame unnecessarily by other people. I don't really get it. It's an agenda. It's an absolute agenda. Once again, it's not Lindelof and Maguire's fault that the player that probably would suit Maguire, the player that you could argue is actually our best centre-half in terms of ability, just cannot stay fit. At the end of the day, Bailly had a resurgence of form in January. And as soon as January ended, the time period where we could have replaced him, he's injured again. What's he done now? Had a car crash? Something like that. Obviously, I hope he's okay, but what on earth? I don't know. His staying fit records, like that clown at McDonald's, just shambolic. But solid performance by Maguire, a 7 out of 10. I don't know why he got man of the match from Jermaine Genius. It wasn't a standout performance. I guess it wasn't a standout performance by the whole team. But I definitely felt like if there was anybody impacting the game the most, it was definitely Telles and not Maguire. On to midfield, Matic playing alongside Fred. I don't believe I've seen that midfield before. I'm not really sure what's called that midfield. Fred Titch. You get the McFred, the McPog, the the Pog Fred, whichever combination of midfield we get. Fred Titch, it did okay today. I mean, we were dominating the game. We're definitely on top. We definitely had control of the game. But obviously, you just saw a lack of creative impulse from the deeper line midfielders today, because they are both deep line midfielders. Matic is more of a defensive midfielder. Fred did try and push up today, but Fred's really good at that out ball from the first third to the second third, or even from the second third to the final third. But once he gets in the final third, I don't know what happens to him. But I'll give Matic a 6 anyway, because Matic, as far as I'm concerned, he didn't have a bad game. He just does what Matic does. Matic is a good player as Matic. He is very static, admittedly, but he has got a good pass on him. He's good at reading the game. He does his job very well. It's just whether he really suits the evolution of this team, really. But, I don't mind him playing FA Cup games and coming in when we need him defensively. But a 6 out of 10 for Matic. Fred, I thought Fred had a really good game. He started off quite sloppy, actually. He was quite wasteful with his passing, basically passing the ball off the pitch at the beginning. But he grew into the game. His closing down tenacity is excellent. Like I said, he's good at the out ball from the first third to the second third, because he gets it out extremely quickly. He's very press resistant, and he gets the ball out to the players further up the pitch quickly, which is exactly what they want. I mean, they weren't very good today, but Fred was getting the ball to them quickly. He doesn't quite have that penetrativeness when it gets to that final third, and he needs to stop shooting. You ever played FIFA or a football game where when the pressure's on and you've got to try and get it in the little line, and it keeps moving side to side, and that little line's really small, that little gap what you got to land it in is really small. It's like that happens to him when it goes to shoot. Even if the goal completely opens up to him, you're thinking, Paul Scholes, he's fell perfectly, sweetly for a volley. That happens to Fred quite a lot because he gets himself in good positions. But when it comes to the moment of shooting, it's like that line's a hairline and he's moving like this. He should just stop shooting. Even if he thinks he's going to score, don't shoot, Fred. You can't shoot. You absolutely can't shoot. And I've not just fought this one game. He only really got one opportunity to do so in this game, and I think he volleyed it and it was heading for the corner flag. But it's happened quite recently where he thinks he's going to shoot, and it's awful. Just don't shoot. Never shoot. Even if it's an open goal, there's nobody in your way, don't shoot. Pass it to someone. But a good performance from Fred today. He was one of our better players, I thought, an 8 out of 10. But it's just, Fred being Fred is a very good player and suits modern football. I mean, I'm just a big fan of Fred. But okay, so on to Van der Beek. Look, I want to see Van der Beek start. We all want to see what Van der Beek can do. He is a good player. We all know he's a good player because of what he's done at Ajax. But we also must remember that the Dutch league isn't even remotely comparable to the Premier League. And sometimes in the Champions League, bad teams, well, not necessarily bad teams, but teams that aren't necessarily the best teams in Europe can actually get far with a bit of luck and playing a good team on the right day. It can happen. It's not like Ajax were a bad team. They have a very good footballing style. They're very easy on the eye to watch. But, some teams just get further than how good they are. It's not necessarily a reflection on where they stand in world football. And I don't think Ajax were. I think they got to the semi-finals, was it? I don't think Ajax were necessarily in the top 4 teams in Europe at that time. But Van der Beek is a good player. His problem is, like I said, he isn't doing anything particularly that Lingard wasn't doing, but Lingard offers more off the ball because he's quicker off the ball. But Van der Beek's just being far too safe. Like I said, it's night and day between him and Bruno. Bruno will take risk after risk after risk, even if it means giving the ball away. He's taking his shot. He's absolutely taking his shot. Sorry, I had a problem there. Anyway, basically what I was saying is Van der Beek, he isn't taking his shot, and Bruno is taking his shot. Even if he fails, he's not afraid to fail. Van der Beek looks afraid to fail. He's just got to be selfish and, just get some goals and assists. Be greedy. Be greedy, because at the end of the day, that's what that role in the particular team is for. So 5 out of 10 for Van der Beek. It's just his position in the pitch. he has a certain job. He needs to accomplish certain things. Whereas you look at Matic wasn't particularly amazing today, but he did his role as a defensive midfielder. So you can't put the emphasis on another player in a different position. You've got to look at the position the player's playing in. Unfortunately, it just wasn't good enough. He ain't forcing his way into the team on that performance. Marcus Rashford basically got an assist. Not a great performance today, but he got an assist that ultimately helps us win the game. So what Rashford does, this isn't necessarily brilliant for 90 minutes, but he has impactful moments. And the only way to win games and win the points and get through to next rounds is to literally make things happen in games. The game isn't about keeping possession. It isn't about beating your man every single time. It's about when you land in certain moments, you make things happen. Now look, he missed a sitter today. Should have scored at the beginning of that second half. But he constantly tries to get himself in positions where he can make things happen. And he sometimes makes the wrong choices. But if you keep getting yourselves in those positions, you're going to eventually make something happen positively. So 7 out of 10 for Marcus Rashford. Mason Greenwood, great bit of skill in the first half. As a right forward, his all-round game's improving. The defensive aspects are improving. He's better at closing down. His link-up play is getting better. Obviously, he isn't really scoring as much as he was originally. But, he isn't a right forward. We do need to get a right forward or a right winger to play on that side who's natural on that side. But, he's doing a good job. You can't argue with the job he's doing. And, the goals will return because he's a natural finisher. He isn't going to struggle in the long run in terms of scoring goals. So 7 out of 10 for Mason Greenwood. On to Anthony Martial. Martial, great hold-up play in the first half. Showed a lot of strength. But that was his evolution last year. Last year when we were saying, can Martial be a striker? What we got last year was an evolution in strength. His hold-up play got better. He was giving defenders more of an aggressive confrontation with the way he was playing. But as the game wore on, he got poorer and poorer. And he didn't have a bad game by any means. When he went onto the left-hand side, when Cavani came on, he's terrorising when he runs at players. That's his best ability. But obviously when he's occupying two centre-backs, because that's the job of a striker, unless you play a false nine, then, he isn't going to get the ball where he can literally travel at the defenders and terrorise them. But the other problem is Marcus Rashford is impactful on that left and makes things happen more than Martial, even though I think Martial's a more skillful player than Rashford. But, good hold-up play, but, he needs to add extra dimensions to his game. Otherwise, games are just going to keep passing him by, because this game ultimately did pass him by. Look, I will say we didn't have the midfield to keep feeding him the ball today. That was a big problem because we didn't have a very creative midfield. Van der Beek didn't do enough. But, there are other ways to make things happen if the midfield aren't being creative, and that's what Martial doesn't seem to do. He needs to perfect play and build up to him for some reason, and he should have scored in the last kick of the game, but maybe it was tiredness, I don't know. It's a good thing he's still getting in position at that point of the game. But 7 out of 10 for Anthony Martial for me today. Scott McTominay obviously came on and scored a bullet of a goal. He crashed Moyes' bus, but he was actually bad when he came on. I actually thought the way we kept the ball with Matic and Fred actually dropped when McTominay came on. McTominay gave the ball away a few times, but then he scored. He turned into prime David Beckham. He was like playing galaxy passes from one side of the pitch to the other. He's coming on. I've been very praiseworthy of McTominay because he is a player that keeps evolving. He isn't pretty on the eye, but at the end of the day, he doesn't need to be. Not all players need to be that kind of player. You just have to be effective for the team unit, and he is. He is an effective player. And he's got goals in him. 7 goals this year. That's great for a midfielder, especially a deeper midfielder. He's very box-to-box. I like how he now drives past players. He is actually quite press-resistant. When he gets pressed, he does usually go sideways or backwards, and people look... I think that's one of the main criticisms of him, is people want him to go forward more. But he's actually added another thing to his game in terms of the evolution of his game. He's now actually just driving past players because he's got a bit of acceleration and he's powerful. He's a powerful... mover, I guess you could say. He's added it to his game. 8 out of 10 from McTominay because he came on and won us the game. Bruno Fernandes, 5. He was rubbish when he came on. I mean, obviously he's our best player, but at the end of the day, he came on, he was sloppy. He was giving the ball away left, right and centre. He was misplacing passes. I don't know if it was just too cold when he come on and he's been on the bench. But, it was night and day between him and Van der Beek. And the difference is even though it was night and day and Van der Beek kept the ball well in his little circles of 10 yards and Bruno was giving the ball left, right and centre, Bruno tries certain passes that unease defences. He makes defences panic. He disorganises defences because he doesn't care about giving the ball away because he knows that the objective to win a game is to score goals and not to keep possession. Of course, we all want Bruno to keep the ball more than he does sometimes, and Van der Beek does do that. But the first objective has got to be to score goals. There's certain times of the game where, sure, keeping possession's great, but Bruno wasn't particularly good today. But, he isn't being dislodged by Van der Beek on that performance. So, a 5 out of 10 for Bruno today. Cavani came on, didn't particularly do that much, hopefully do more. But, he does keep making the runs, he keeps pressurising his defences, and it unnerves them. Give him a chance, he will likely score. But, today just wasn't his day. Nothing really fell for him, but 6 out of 10. Luke Shaw came on, just okay, really. Didn't particularly do too much either. In the left-back position, he came on for Tellez. Tellez was very good today, like I said, man of the match. But 6 out of 10 for Luke Shaw. Brandon Williams, I don't know what's happened to this guy, but he came on and did okay. He's quite aggressive in his tackling and he's quite intense in terms of his play and his passing. He did all he can do coming on right back. Hopefully he can press Wan-Bissaka because Wan-Bissaka needs to be pressurised. 7 out of 10 for Williams. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, 7 out of 10. I didn't disagree with the changes he made today. Obviously, Pogba's out injured and he rested some other players. So he did what he had to do and he ultimately won. Obviously, getting into extra time wasn't ideal, but at the same time, what can you do? Moyes literally parked a bus. I think that was more down to the fact that West Ham didn't try to win that game until the last 10 minutes. But we won. We got through. Didn't concede a goal. Probably could have had a few goals on another day. So 7 out of 10 for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But obviously the FA Cup is a chance for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to, show that he does have that winning edge. And obviously a lot of people use the semi-finals that he keeps losing as a means to beat him with. I think last year it was more of a bit of praise. Look, we are consistently getting to the semi-finals, which was better than what we were previously doing. But obviously this year, he does need to get past one and win something. I don't think we're quite in a title race. I don't think we have the nerve to win a title race. But, by winning an FA Cup, by getting over that line, that the mentality will improve next year because we are making progress. We can see the progress this year, but there may be a bit of a mentality block in terms of having the nerve to really go out and truly win something. The FA Cup, I believe, is our best chance. I don't really care about the Europa League. I think it's only going to harm our chances of qualifying for the Champions League via the league. So I just think we should put our second string out in that. But, we did what we did. On to Sunday against West Brom. Hopefully we can put a run together, secure those Champions League spots. And who knows, maybe Man City will have a downturn in form. I can't see it. But if they do, then we should make sure we're winning our game so we're there to at least be in the mix if it does happen. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Make sure you smash the like button if you think that we can win the FA Cup. Until next time, talk soon.